These are baby back ribs. Today, I'm going to be using the Traeger to smoke some baby back ribs. Yeah, let's get it done.
Hey, yo, this is Dash. Get ready.
All right, so I've gone ahead and rinsed off the ribs. Yep, I rinsed them off. I did, and I always do. I just always want to make sure there's no bone fragments or shards or anything like that that are here. So when I get my ribs together, you have to take off this shiny bit here on the back of the ribs is the membrane. You'll see people use butter knives or paper towels. I've gotten to the point where with a regular blue glove, I can get my fingers up in underneath, and I'm just gonna work my fingers up under and then pull the whole thing off, usually in one piece. Does it always happen? Nope. Just like this rack right here. Kind of like it's kind of like pulling off a piece of tape that has that errant little strip that just doesn't come with the rest of it. Same thing just happened. But I'll get a good grip on this membrane and I'm pulling it all the way off and down, and I chuck the whole thing. I don't do anything with that. Go back over it, make sure that there's no other errant pieces. Like this little piece right there. Not that it would actually do much of anything, but I'll get another rack. Now, there is a small bone end, which is the meatier bit, and then there's a long bone end, which has less meat on the top of the actual bone on the opposite side, on the meat side of the rib. So I always start on the small bone side again, and I'll get you guys in closer. Okay, so I'll show you guys how to get this done. Again, I'm on a small bone side. I'm just gonna stick my finger up and grab it. Then I'm gonna push my thumb up underneath. Once I have this, I'll get a hold of it, slowly pull off. Now, you guys see, this is what I'm talking about. Because there's a little bit that's kind of hanging on here, it started to rip apart and it was leaving a bit of the membrane. So I'm gonna take my finger in, start this piece right there just like that, grab it off, and then come back and grab this off, and then we'll take it all back off all together. Let's show you one more time the whole process. I stick my fingers usually between the first and the second bone. I'll get my thumb just up and under. Now the reason I don't use a knife or anything like that, a knife or a spoon, is because I don't want to rip down into the meat here. I just want to get my finger, and because it's, you know, it's round, I don't have a problem. Now, if you're having an issue, if you don't have gloves and you're trying to do this with your hands, it might not work out as easily. So in order to get the main membrane off, sometimes it's easier to get a paper towel. That paper towel will give you a better grip. Now, this is a long bone side and a short bone side. So let's flip these this way so we can get these a little closer to make it easier for us to season. I'm gonna get this membrane off the sheet so we can get it in the trash. And I'm gonna go grab my seasoning. Okay, so today I'm using it's just a regular Restaurant Depot seasoning. I got some for my wife, or I got some from the Restaurant Depot one day, and my wife says she actually likes it a lot because it is sweet. Now, this is not a seasoning or a seasoning I really use whenever I have anything for customers. This is just typically for my own household. So The reason I'm telling you this is because this is not for a customer. If this was a customer cook, I usually don't tell you guys what I'm using. So I'm gonna be pretty liberal with this stuff. And I'll do the back side first. I'm gonna pat in. I didn't use any binders or anything like that, and the ribs were slightly tacky. All right, so now we're seasoning the top or the meat side of the ribs. Make sure you get the very ends and down in between. All right, so now that I have my ribs seasoned, I'm gonna just kind of cover them up a little bit, and we're gonna head out to the grill. I'll see you guys outside. Okay, so I have my ribs, and I let them sit for about 10 minutes just to kind of let them start to sweat a little. Now, what I'm gonna do is get one rack on the back side of the middle of the grill. I'm going to get another rack on the front side of the middle of the grill. I'm going to squish these ribs in together because I want them just a little compressed. Now, this last rack I'm going to put up on the top. And we're going to put the thicker bone side out. And I'm going to move them as far forward in here as I can. Again, we're going to squeeze them together. We're going to compress them together. Make sure that seasoning is right. See these guys in a couple hours. All right, so it's been an hour. Let's see what's going on in Tracy. Now I can tell you that the ribs smell pretty daggone good at the moment. So let's look in there and see what they're doing. All right, they're definitely starting to do something here. It looks like we got some fat coming out of there, and okay, well, 1 hour in. So what I'm gonna do now, you guys know how I feel about adding moisture to everything. So I'm gonna take this a third foil pan, and I'm gonna get it on the end in the smoker, and we're gonna introduce and we're gonna add some moisture into Tracy. I told you guys before when I did that brisket, now, you guys noticed or saw, I did this on the Traeger, and I don't know, I'm not liking the way that this is a little bit, a little harder than I would like it to be. This is drier than I would like it to be. I did not actually like how the brisket turned out because to me it felt dried out. It felt like it was too much air moving around inside of the Traeger, and I introduced some water with one of my next cooks, and I like the results a lot better. So I'm gonna get that taken care of. All right, so after an hour, this is what the ribs are looking like. And like you saw, I just added the water pan in there to help make sure that the ribs stay moist. We'll get this closed up. and I'll check on it in another hour. So normally I wouldn't really be opening up the grill or cooker or whatever it is this often, but because I've never done any baby back on a Traeger, I really want to know how they cook, how it cooks. So I'll be back out here in another hour. All right, so I'm back out at the grill, back out at Tracy, and we're at the 2-hour mark, so let's see how they're doing. Oh yeah, look at those. All right, so we are getting some moisture and fat coming up off of the middle of the ribs there. All right, so what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna let these go for another half an hour. Again, we're at the 2-hour mark. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna move these around. I'll move this one in the back to the front, this one in the front up here, and this one up here down there. So I'll be right back. Time to get some gloves. Okay, so I'm back out at Tracy again, and we're gonna be losing light soon, and we are at the 3-hour mark. So let's see what these ribs look like. Oh yeah. We have a decent amount of color on those ribs. Definitely. Oh yeah. All right, so I'm gonna get the ribs wrapped up. We're gonna use that foil pan. Call me crazy, but individually wrapping ribs I don't have time for that. So I always use a foil pan. I'll show you guys how I do it. I don't think I've ever showed you guys in depth how I typically do it, but I'll show you guys today. All right, so first things first, I'm gonna put the ribs in the pan. So I'm going to put one small end on one side, one big end on the other. Now, if I'm doing 3 racks of ribs, I'm gonna put them in this pan like so. Basically, head to toe, you know, type deal. Now, if I were doing more than 3 racks, now the other rack, the last rack, I'm gonna actually take and turn it upside down and put it on top of these 2. If I were doing more than 3 racks, the most racks I would fit in one pan like this would be 6, and I would stack them pretty much on top of each other, kind of at an angle, and you can get 6 racks of ribs in a single full catering pan. All right. Now I could just layer them, stack them on top of each other, but because there's no sauce or anything in this pan at the moment, I'm just gonna do it like this so they can kind of cook evenly. Next thing I'm gonna do, cover this up, wrap it tightly with foil. Then I'm gonna get it back on the smoker. All right, I'll see you in 2 hours. So I'm back out of the grill. It has been another 2 hours. I learned my lesson the last time. I'm gonna put some cotton gloves on underneath the nitro gloves so that I won't have as much of a problem, or a problem at all, pretty much. Now, I'm gonna try to work quickly because it's now 10 o'clock and this light, which is pretty bright, is gonna attract a good amount of bugs. So, first things first, I'm gonna get the ribs out of the Traeger, and I'm gonna get them sauced. I'm looking at these ribs already, and they're done. They're done. One thing I didn't do was bring out a temperature probe, a thermometer. But I can feel, look at the way these ribs are coming apart. So I was shooting for a 3-2-1. So 3 hours, 2 hours, and then 1 hour sauce to set the sauce. These ribs aren't even gonna make it an hour. They are done. done right now. Now, because this cook is just a basic cook and I really wanted to do something that someone can mimic at home if necessary, I'm just using some sweet bakeries, and I'm going to get my sauce on. And then let's just use the glove. I'm going to spread it out. Alright, so there's no way I'm going to be able to get these ribs back into the smoker, well, back into the Traeger without two hands. So I got to go back inside the house and get some gloves. I'm going to show you these things up close. So I have some ribs for you to try.
Oh.
Alright. So here are the ribs, and do me a favor. So I don't touch them all. Two of the racks are gonna be for the neighbors next door. Alright. So I already know that these are to the point where they are falling apart and so tender that they're really, I could probably take the bones out. So now one of the things that's amazing, I can see watch out. So, when you're cutting ribs, to me, I never ever turn them upside down. I want to maintain the sauce that I have on the top of these ribs, on the meat side of the ribs. I don't ever turn them upside down. I know there are plenty of people that will tell you to turn them upside down. I just don't. I want them to look as pretty as possible. Now, with that being said, you're going to have to cut down and along the bone, and you're going to find the bone has a curvature to it, and then when you hit the end, it cuts back. So you can't just follow the bone down. You kind of have to be light with the knife and allow it to come, then go through the bone, or go through the meat. Now, before you, alright, I just want to show you guys the rib here. Smoke ring looks pretty good. It might be a little drowned out from the camera, but this is get plates. It's pretty hot. Or you just want to here, just eat it off the fork. It's up to you. I don't think you want to need a fork. It really isn't that tough.
Oh, it's being hot.
I need some descriptive words on how.
This is good. It's very tender, and it's just good. It's what you expect a rib to be, what you want it to be.
All right.
It's a little spicy. It's like a little.
Use words.
It's like a little kick almost.
Is that bad?
No, because the barbecue sauce is sweet, so it's good. Yeah, it's definitely heavy on flavor, but it's not bad. I think I might actually like it heavy on the flavor.
Okay. Alright, well, there you have it. The ribs on the Traeger, to me, I won't say they're definitely a little overdone, they're a little overcooked, but it's in a good way, in a good backyard way. If this was a competition cook, these ribs would not be good. in the sense of a competition type of event. But I'm not cooking competition barbecue. I'm doing backyard barbecue. For something like this, or you know, like a backyard event or someone's dinner party or something like that. These are a little, like I said, they're a little further done than I would like them to be. I probably should have smoked them for 3 hours, wrap them for 1, and then started checking them, as opposed to letting them go 3 hours, 2 hours, and then my plan was to go do the 3-2-1 type method, where you let them smoke for 3 hours, wrap them up for 2 hours, sauce them, and let the sauce set for 1 hour. They weren't even in the Traeger for a half an hour with the sauce setting, and they are well past what they need to be for done. I didn't even check them with any sort of temperature probe or anything like that. You can, when they're done correctly, you can just feel them falling apart. And as I'm picking them up, and I mean, the bone is coming clean out. There's not much meat left on that bone. All right, so other than that, okay. Well, I guess you were hungry. It shows. Alright. Well, thank you guys for helping me out. Thank you guys for watching. If you haven't already, please do subscribe. If you like what you saw today, if you learned something, please leave me a thumbs up down below. Anything else you guys want to add? Alright. Thank you guys. I'll see you guys next time.